Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Chemical Study Zone. I'm DVK Bhagwan and now let's continue our class. In the previous class I taught about the brief introduction of fluid mechanics, what is fluid mechanics, in how does the fluid mechanics plays different roles in different process, and about the chemical process industry we studied about that what is the unit operations and unit processes, and we studied about the micro level approach and macro level approach, and we have studied some basic units and dimensions. And now let's go further into a topic that is continuum approximation. As in fluid mechanics we generally deal with the motion of the fluid flow, but we cannot calculate the exact velocity of the fluid flow. Why? Because let us consider a tank, consider a pipe, okay, in which the fluid is flowing. Hmm. here we here we have so many fluid particles. So as in my previous class I said before that we cannot calculate the velocity and viscosity density for each and every particle of the fluid. So that's why we cannot exactly calculate the total velocity of the fluid. So just we are calculating the brief, that means the average velocity, the average viscosity and average density. Suppose in any problems if they say that the velocity of the fluid is 10 meter per seconds, that means it is not the exact velocity, it's the average velocity. Okay, now in this continuum approximation, here we generally consider the whole system as in type of some small particles, and we will find the velocity, viscosity and density to the particle, and just then integrate to overall system. Then we will get the average value, which is equals to the average of quantity. Okay, now let us consider a pipe. In this pipe, let's consider as fluid is flowing with a velocity v. Okay, and these are the spatial coordinates x, y and z. So this velocity vector v bar can be represented as v bar of x, y, z and t, where here t is time. Uh, as in a pipe, the velocity of the fluid will change from time to time. Suppose at this point A, consider point A and point B. At this point the velocity may be v1, but at this point the velocity is not v1. It changes to somehow, maybe v2. This v1 is equals to v1 plus some, consider this distance as L and this time as delta t. So the distance is, the velocity is vt equals to v1 plus L del t. Later we can give a vectors formula for density also. Density equals to rho of x, y, z and t. So generally fluid is a smooth and continuous so here what we will do in this type of continuum approximation, what we deal with is, here suppose in the pipe, we will consider a point mass p. Okay, we consider a unit volume around this point mass. It can be a cubic volume. Okay, I will enlarge this diagram over here so each and everyone can understand. So it length may be delta L, let us assume this, and the point mass radius is goes to small a. Okay, then this volume del V equals to del L whole cube. Okay, now as we know that delta V is very small. How it will be small? Delta L is an approximation of 10 power minus 6 meters. We consider point mass, point volume means, that means point length means around in micrometers, nanometers in all the ranges. So delta V equals to, let us think delta L equals to 10 power minus 6 meters, then delta V equals to 10 power minus 6 whole cube. That means 10 power minus 18 meters, which is very less than delta L. As delta V is very small, then delta V, then del V is directly proportional to a cube. Why it is directly proportional to a cube? Because as delta L is small, here moment, here look here, as it is the delta L. Suppose if we string this delta L to the small point cube as the point mass A, then delta L is directly proportional to A. If we increase A, then automatically the delta L should also be increased. If we decrease the delta L, then it can also be decreased. So delta L is directly proportional to A. So in this case we can say that as delta V approximately equals to A cube. That means here delta V is comparable to molecular dimensions. But it does not possible, right? If this possible, then all of fluid mechanics topics will be false. Why? How can it be happen? Suppose if delta V is comparably equals to A cube, then delta V, which is nothing but the volume, then delta L equals to A. That means we are finding, that means we are actually finding the volume and all that to our only particle, point mass particle. Which is impossible. Because as I previously said that we cannot find the part, we can't find the velocities of the fluid particles at any point accurately. So if delta L is equals to A, sorry, if delta L equals to A, then the volume shrinks to the point mass. That means we are then actually finding the only the velocity of the point A, but in general we cannot find this, so it should not be equal. So our continuous approximation fails at this condition. So at what places the continuous approximation will valid? That means consider it's a molecule. Point mass means a molecule is it's of radius A, and this is our unit volume of length delta L. No, this is a diameter of the pipe. This is a pipe in which the fluid is flowing. Its diameter BD. So valid for conductor approximation states that the point mass, the radius of the point mass should be much smaller than the unit volume we are considering, and this unit length should be much smaller than the diameter of the pipe in which it is flowing. Here we have got the clarity about A should be less than delta L, but we does not got the clarity about why delta L should less than B, the diameter of the pipe. So okay, why should not less than B? Suppose let us prove that now. Consider a pipe. Okay, in that pipe we are considering a unit mass. Okay, and this is the diameter D. Here its volume is del V. Okay, suppose if del V is comparably equal to D cube, that means delta L equals to D, then there will be no fluid flow in the pipe. That means there will be no fluctuations. There are no fluctuations means what will happen? That means there will be no force which cause the fluid to move from one end of the pipe to another end. So what should happen over here? To validate this equation, we need a delta L which is smaller than the diameter of the pipe. That means the delta L cube, which is equals to delta V, should much smaller than the D cube. Here it only states that. So validity of equation is A smaller than delta L smaller than D. Here A means molecular diameter, delta L means side of the cube we considering, and D is the diameter of the pipe. Okay, when can this continuous approximation can be failed? This continuous approximation will fail for rarefied gases. Okay, rarefied gas means what are the rarefied gases? The gases which have larger mean free part. Okay, what does it mean by the mean free part? Generally in liquid we measure molecular length scale as diameter of molecules. because in liquid the particles are somehow closely packed to each other, so they can move easily from so they can easily collide with each other very frequently. The molecules are freely move from away each other. So if we need a molecule to move from one point to another point, hmm, we are moving a particle from one point to another point, so the distance which we had moved the particle is known as the mean free part. If this mean free part increases, then the continuous approximation fails, because I'll show it now. Here, so consider a pipe of diameter d. Okay, if this is a particle at this stage, we need to move this particle to somewhere at this point, so its mean free part is Lm. If this Lm tends to d, then what will happen? It is same equals to, as we have seen before, that delta L tending to d. In this case, continuous approximation fails. So Lm, the mean free part, should be lesser than the diameter of the pipe in which is flowing. Generally, for rarefied gases, Lm is very large. That is, Lm is comparably equal to the diameter of the molecule, or Lm can be greater than the diameter of the molecule. So the fluid does not flow in this path. So continuum approximation fails for rarefied gases. Okay, we have seen about rarefied gases and the continuum approximation. Now we are going to the next topic, which is the Newton's laws of viscosity, which is the basic principle in the fluid mechanics. Hence, law of viscosity. Suppose consider two plates. The bottom plate will be stationary and some fluid is flowing in this between them. So here we are then we have applied some dye at this point to know the deformation of the fluid or in its flow. Suppose the dye may be in this way. Suppose after a time delta t, we are applying some force F on this top plate, but the bottom plate is stationary. So if we apply the force on top plate, then what will happen? The fluid will start to flow in this direction. That means after some time of delta t, if we observe the fluid, it will be looking like in this way. It may be delta L. Okay, the angle it made over here be delta alpha. and again after time of 2 delta t. Now, uh, now again the fluid will deviate from this point to some other point. Now this angle will be 2 delta alpha, this length will be 2 delta L. Okay, if we go on increasing the time, as delta t increases, delta L will also increases for a fluid. Means delta L is directly proportional to delta t over here. And let the distance between these two plates be capital H. Okay. Now that means whatever the flow, if we apply the more force, then the particles will start to deform from their original place very quickly. That means the fluid does not oppose any reaction to opposite to our force we are applying. So how much ever you deform, that much it will be being deformed in this way, so on like that. Okay, so here the stress applied, okay, first let us draw the dimensions x, y, z. Okay, we are applying the force in x direction, and we are seeing the deformation in some of x and y direction. Okay, so stress applied tau yx is directly proportional to delta alpha by delta t, where delta alpha is the angle between the initial condition and the final time we are considering, the location times we are considering. So how can it be possible? How we can say that tau yx is directly proportional to delta alpha by delta t? Okay, as tau yx is generally equals to force, stress equals to force by area. We have learned it from the units of elasticity. Okay, as we are seeing that force is directly proportional to the deformation delta alpha, and force is directly proportional to the, and force is inversely proportional to the time delta t. If the time increases, then the force automatically will be in decreases here. If the force increases, then automatically the deformation also increases. It's a general topic that each and every one of you can know, that each and every one. So then force is directly proportional to delta alpha by delta t, as stress is directly proportional to F. This implies tau also is directly proportional to delta alpha by delta t, tau yx. Okay, now let us dot the simplified diagram of this over here. Okay, it is the initial condition. 1 minute. It is the initial condition, and after some deformation of the time delta t, we deform with an angle of delta alpha and with the of delta L. Okay, we are applying some force Fx in this direction. The distance between two plates ph, The coordinates are in this direction, x, y, and z. Okay, as suppose we are moving the plate with velocity u. Okay, then delta L equals to u into delta t. Okay, from figure 6 from figure we can say that tan of delta alpha equals to delta L by h. If this is s, then automatically it will be the h. Okay, as delta alpha is very small, not tan of delta alpha tends to sine of delta alpha tends to delta alpha. Basic trigonometry it is. So that means here we can write this as delta alpha is equals to delta L by h. As delta L is u into delta t, you can write it as u into delta t by h. That means delta alpha by delta t equals to u by h. As here it can look at as equation. Now we have studied before that tau yx is directly proportional to delta alpha by delta t. Apply this over here. That means tau yx is directly proportional to u by h. To remove this proportionality and keeping a constant over here, we constant as tau yx equals to mu into u by h. Here mu is the viscosity of the fluid. What is viscosity? Viscosity is the behavior of the fluid which tends to oppose its nature of the fluid flow. Means viscosity is opposing its flow towards the applied force. If viscosity is more, then the force we should have to apply, force applied should also be more. Okay, now if h tends to a small distance like delta y, that means infinitesimal volume, infinitesimal slice we can say. Infinitesimal means value which approximately equals to 0. Approximately equals to 0. That means what will happen? Tau yx equals to mu into limit delta y tends to 0 del u by del y. Why we written as del u? If the slice is very small, that means the two plates will be in this type. This is a del y. For the bigger, where it is here, for the bigger distance between the players, we are applying a large force. For infinitesimal slice, that means for this type of volumetric space, we are applying a very small force, which is nothing but the del u. So as limit del y tends to 0, let's integrate it. So equals to mu into du by dy tau yx, means tau yx is equals to mu into du by dy. This is known as Newton's law of viscosity. It is known as the Newton's law of viscosity, and tau is the stress applied by external agent, and mu is the viscosity of fluid, and du by dy is the velocity gradient. So from this we can find if you know the applied stress and the velocity gradient of the fluid flow, then we can find the viscosity of the fluid. So what are the dimensions of the viscosity? Let's find it out now. As tau yx equals to mu into du by dy. Here the dimension of stress are as stress equals to force by area, which is nothing but the dimensionally pressure. The pressure dimensions are ml inverse t power minus 2 equals to, we need to find this one, and velocity vector gradient, that means velocity is lt power minus 1 by distance, dy means nothing but l. So mu equals to ml inverse t power minus 1. Okay, its SI units are kg per meter seconds, which is nothing but 1 Pascal second. Here we have some constant values of viscosity for some fluids. Let us write down now. Okay, for air it is 10 power minus 5 micro in Pascal second. No, sorry guys. Yeah, viscosity values 10 power minus 5 Pascal seconds for air, and for water it is 10 power minus 3, and for castor oil it is nearly 0.1. For our blood it is nearly equals to water, 8 into 10 power minus 3, as blood is 80% of water and 20% of the glucose, plasma and all that. And for mercury it is 1.55 into 10 power minus 3 Pascal second. Here tau yx equals to mu into du by dy, which is Newton's law of viscosity. Here this du by dy has so many names like rate of deformation or velocity gradient or shear rate or strain rate. If we draw a graph between tau yx versus velocity gradient du by dy, then it will be in this one second. Okay, du by dy in this direction, tau yx. Then the slope will be directly proportional, and the slope will give us the line is then it's a straight line, and the slope will give us the velocity viscosity of the fluid. It is generally a straight line for Newtonian fluids. What are Newtonian fluids? Fluids which obey Newton's law of viscosity. Viscosity are known as Newtonian fluids. Suppose for a polymeric flow, suppose we have taken the polymeric solution, then polymer solution means also it's a type of liquid, so it's also a fluid generally. So it will be in this shape for polymer solution. Okay, and for colloidal solutions, it is for colloidal solutions. Generally fluids, based on this, the fluids can be classified into two types. They are Newtonian fluids and non-Newtonian fluids. Newtonian fluids means which obeys the Newton's law of viscosity. Non-Newtonian fluid means which doesn't obey the Newton's law of viscosity. Okay, here based on this we can write this as in the simplest form. This blue line indicates Newtonian fluid. This upper line indicates shear thickening. That means the colloidal displacement. Shear thickening means colloidal solutions. And this down line indicates shear thinning. And that means polymer solutions. Okay guys, this is for until today. If you like my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe, like and share. Please subscribe to my channel so that I will get more and more motivation from you guys to make more further videos on all aspects. Thank you guys. Goodbye.